Wagwan, everybody, welcome to my channel. Here we talk about all things Jamaica. We will discuss everything from headline news, entertainment, history, music, sports, and more. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can keep up with all things Jamaica. So today we're going to be talking about politics in Jamaica. And I know that there are some Jamaicans out there who will say that politics shouldn't be talked about because it's not a pleasant thing to talk about. But I think if we want our country to be better, then we should be interested in politics. We should be talking about it. So today we're going to be looking at the two main political parties in Jamaica and their policies. Before we get started though, don't forget to support us by liking this video and subscribing so you can be the first to see our new videos. Now let's begin. Before we dive into the different political parties, it's important to understand how the government of Jamaica works. The Parliament of Jamaica has 63 seats, and these seats are what we call constituency seats. This means that each seat represents a specific area within Jamaica. For example, in St. Andrew, Western Westmoreland, St. Catherine, Eastern Hanover, all of these places have constituencies. In order for a party to form a government, they need at least 32 seats. So now that we've kind of understood how the government is structured in Jamaica, let's look at the two major parties that have dominated the political landscape since 1944. We're going to start off with the People's National Party, or the PNP. The PNP was formed in 1938, and it was largely led by people from the urban areas, people who were mainly involved in trade unions. One of the early leaders of the PNP was a man named Norman Manley. He was actually born in Canada but migrated to Jamaica. He had a significant impact on the early years of the PNP, and his vision was for an independent Jamaica with self-government. Under his leadership and the leadership of others who came after him, the PNP advocated for social justice, workers' rights, and universal adult suffrage. It was under the PNP's rule that many important social reforms were introduced in Jamaica. These included things such as free education up to the age of 16, the introduction of the National Insurance Scheme, the establishment of community colleges, improvements to healthcare, just to name a few. The PNP believes in a mixed economy where the government plays a significant role in regulating and managing the economy in a way that promotes social justice and equality. They advocate for policies that aim to reduce inequality, promote social welfare, and protect the interests of workers. However, the PNP has faced criticism over the years for instances of corruption, and for policies that some argue have led to high levels of taxation and bureaucracy. The second major party is the Jamaica Labour Party, or the JLP. The JLP was founded in 1943 by Sir Alexander Bustamante, who was a prominent trade unionist and political figure in Jamaica. Like the PNP, the JLP emerged out of the trade union movement. But unlike the PNP, which was more closely aligned with urban working-class interests, the JLP had strong rural support. The JLP's early years were marked by a focus on workers' rights and social welfare issues. However, its approach to politics differed significantly from that of the PNP. The JLP advocated for a more limited role for government in the economy and emphasized free market principles. This shift in ideology was reflected in the party's changing demographics. While the PNP was predominantly supported by urban working-class voters, the JLP appealed to a broader cross-section of Jamaican society, including middle-class professionals and rural landowners. Under the leadership of Sir Alexander and his successors, the JLP pursued policies aimed at promoting economic growth, attracting foreign investment, and reducing the role of government in the economy. The party's commitment to free market principles led to significant changes in Jamaica's economic policy, including the introduction of free market reforms and privatization of state-owned enterprises. However, the JLP has also faced criticism over the years for instances of corruption and for policies that some argue have led to growing income inequality and social unrest. Both the PNP and the JLP have been in power multiple times since Jamaica's independence from the British Empire in 1962. Periods of their rule have seen both successes and challenges. Both parties have had to deal with issues like crime, corruption, economic instability, and social inequality. Each party has strengths and weaknesses, and they each offer different visions for the country. It's really up to the people of Jamaica to decide which path they want to take. One issue that's plagued Jamaican politics for a long time is corruption. Corruption has been a persistent problem in Jamaica, regardless of which party has been in power. Instances of corruption have eroded public trust in government institutions and have contributed to a culture of cynicism among the population. Both the PNP and the JLP have had their share of corruption scandals, and this has led to calls for greater transparency and accountability in government. Now, in recent years, there have been efforts to address the issue of corruption in Jamaica. These include things such as the establishment of an anti-corruption commission and the strengthening of laws and regulations to prevent and punish corrupt practices. But corruption still remains a significant challenge in the country. Another issue that's been in the forefront of the minds of many Jamaicans recently is crime. Crime has been a major concern in Jamaica for many years. High levels of violent crime and a perception of lawlessness have made headlines and deterred tourists and investors alike. Both the PNP and the JLP have made crime a central part of their platforms. They proposed a range of measures to address the issue. But despite these efforts, crime continues to be a major challenge for the country. Now, some argue that the solution to crime in Jamaica lies in a combination of factors including increased police presence, investment in social programs to address the root causes of crime such as poverty and inequality, and a renewed focus on community policing. Now, the next issue that we're going to be looking at is the economy. Jamaica's economy has been characterized by periods of growth followed by instability. The country has faced a number of economic challenges in recent decades, including high levels of debt, unemployment, and inflation. Both the PNP and the JLP have put forward proposals to stimulate economic growth and create jobs, but the country's economic future remains uncertain. Now, some argue that the solution to Jamaica's economic problems lies in diversifying the economy, investing in education and training to improve the skills of the workforce, and attracting foreign direct investment. Alright, so now that we know about the history of the two major parties in Jamaica and some of the issues facing the country, let's take a look at their policies. Now, this is not an exhaustive list of their policies, but rather some of the key areas that they focus on. Starting with the PNP, as we mentioned earlier, the PNP is traditionally considered to be the more left-leaning party. Some of their core policies include things such as, number 1, social justice and equality. The PNP advocates for policies aimed at reducing inequality and promoting social welfare, such as progressive taxation, universal healthcare, and improved access to education. Number 2, economic regulation and management. The PNP generally supports a more active role for government in the economy, advocating for measures such as price controls, subsidies, and public ownership of key industries. Number 3, workers' rights and labor protections. The PNP has a long history of advocating for workers' rights and has traditionally supported measures to protect labor interests. Now, moving on to the JLP. As we mentioned earlier, the JLP is generally considered to be the more right-leaning party. Some of their core policies include, number 1, economic growth and development. The JLP advocates for policies aimed at stimulating economic growth and development, such as tax cuts, deregulation, and privatization. Number 2, law and order. The JLP has made law and order a central part of its platform, advocating for measures to combat crime and violence. Number 3, foreign investment in international relations. The JLP has traditionally been supportive of foreign investment and has prioritized good relations with countries such as the United States and China. Now, one interesting phenomenon that we've seen in recent times is something called political leader worship. Political leader worship is a phenomenon that occurs when voters develop a strong emotional attachment to a particular political leader, often to the exclusion of all other candidates. This phenomenon can lead to situations where a candidate can win an election even if their party's overall platform is not particularly popular. It can also lead to a situation where voters are less likely to consider candidates from smaller parties, even if those candidates might be better suited to represent their interests. One of the reasons why political leader worship occurs in Jamaica is the charismatic nature of some of the country's political leaders. Leaders such as Michael Manley of the PNP and Edward Sega of the JLP were larger-than-life figures who were able to connect with voters on an emotional level. Another reason why political leader worship occurs in Jamaica is the strong sense of party loyalty that exists in the country. Party loyalty can be a positive force in politics, but it can also lead to a situation where voters are less likely to consider candidates from other parties, even if those candidates might be better suited to represent their interests. Political leader worship is not unique to Jamaica. It's a phenomenon that has occurred in other countries around the world. However, it is particularly strong in Jamaica, and it's something that has had a significant impact on the country's political landscape. So at the end of the day, both the PNP and the JLP have contributed to the political landscape of Jamaica in significant ways. The PNP has advocated for social justice and workers' rights, while the JLP has focused on economic growth and development. Whichever party comes to power, the future of Jamaica will depend on its ability to address some of the country's most pressing challenges, such as crime, corruption, and inequality. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this video was helpful? If there are any other topics about Jamaica that you guys want me to cover, go ahead and comment them down below. Don't forget to support us by liking this video and subscribing so you can be the first to see our new videos. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, big up yourself and walk good.